This time we're building the Lego version of Bumblebee. As soon as this set was announced, I kind of knew that I would get it to go with my Lego Optimus Prime. Of course, I have tried to limit myself to the things that I can combine with my modular town, but as there is a small Transformers Masterpiece collection below that town, these sets kind of make sense. But we have quite a lot of work ahead of us, so let's open the box and put the human helpers to work. I can't wait to see this thing built. As usual, human helpers use two sets of instructions to speed things up. The first thing being built is a feet section. That is also the front section of the car. And of course, you need to build two of those. It uses mostly system pieces, but it has some Technic pieces for support and articulation. And that is true for the whole model, not just these feet sections. The next part being built is the legs and a couple of strong ratchets that will serve as a core for the transformation. Once that is done, it is attached to the feet sections. From the next pack, we are getting parts to build the midsection of the robot. That also includes the shoulder pieces where the arms will be eventually attached. But other than that, this is pretty non-functional part of the build. In the car mode, this midsection will be rear section of the cabin. Therefore, you're seeing some window pieces here, as well as smooth tiles for the roof. This was a relatively small area to be built for the entire model, but it was quite part intensive to get the slopes of the car correct. As you can see, it starts to look like a car already at this point. The next parts being built were the robot's arms. In the car mode, these would be sort of a side areas in the rear of the vehicle. The rear wheels will also be attached to these. Once the elbow and the hand were both in, it was time to attach this piece to the side of the car. And then of course we needed to build another one for the other side. That was of course a bit easier because you had already seen the end product once. Now, as these side panels are attached, this is starting to look even more like a car. Most of the structure is there already. Now it just needs some panels to cover all the caps. And all those are built from the final bags. But the first part is actually the robot's head. Then we continue with the panels that will cover the backside of the car. Those are attached with hinges that articulate from two different points. Those make both the transformation and the angles of the car possible. Next, human helpers build 4 different panels that form the hood of the car. Those pieces also move during transformation, so there are all sorts of clips and bars to make that possible. Next, some doors are added. One of the final pieces for the car is the windshield. That comes off during the transformation and it forms a rocket backpack for the robot. Then some smaller rubber wheels are added to the bottom of the model to add friction to the feet. That is a nice feature. Finally, the wheels are added to the model and then it is complete. Then we only need to build a couple of accessories and the build is all complete. And of course, now it's time to take a closer look of the model. Even though this model was assembled in car mode, I'll start my review from the robot mode. The head is my favorite part of this build. It just looks how Bumblebee should look. And that is not a straightforward shape to build out of Lego, making the success even more impressive. Shoulders having the car wheels and the sides of the car are a definite deviation both from the cartoon model and the 80s toy. The black waist section also looks quite elongated. The feet look relatively good, even though they are somewhat panelly. It is more obvious from the side view. Those panels are used into transformation, so they in a way need to be there. Even though the doors are folded in the back sections of the feet, they don't look that noticeable. The back section is partly good looking. That spare tire piece is usually there in the robot mode. The other panel pointing slightly upwards is not part of the cartoon model, but something like that exists in the original 80s toy. Both of those in a way hide the head in car mode. But mostly it is these big shoulders that make this look less Bumblebee than it should. And here you can see the Lego Bumblebee compared with my Masterpiece Bumblebee. One notable difference is that in the Masterpiece, the car windshield is there at the bottom of the belly, but it is not there in the Lego version. And here you can see the difference in shoulders that I mentioned before. The Masterpiece version does not have any car parts in there. One deviation from the cartoon model that the Masterpiece version has is this backside of the car in his back. It really should be just that spare tire there. You could argue that the Lego version is more accurate in that sense, but I still think that the Masterpiece version carries the extra car parts better. When you bring in Optimus Prime for scale comparisons, you can see a huge difference. I would actually prefer a slightly larger Bumblebee compared to the Optimus Prime in the Masterpiece Series 2, but just a bit taller, not as tall as the Lego version. But bigger means that the robot mode is more impressive, even if it is a bit out of scale. Next, we'll go through the accessories that come with the Lego version. First, we have this spec sheet that is just a sticker on top of some slopes. Next, we have a gun, and the windshields of the car transform into this rocket backpack. The gun is somewhat accurate when compared to the Masterpiece version, though it is of different color. The rocket backs are completely different, but then again this Masterpiece version is just an extra piece. It is not part of the transformation in any way. And that's about all the accessories that are worth comparing. Those two open studs in the spare wheel are the connection point for the rocket pack. And the gun can be clipped into the hand. There is a bar element below the thumb. And here you can see Bumblebee holding his gun. The illusion is quite good. It actually looks like he's holding it in his fist, even though it is clipped into that bar. And here you can see the rocket back. It kind of looks like little bee wings there, but I don't think that it really adds much here. I think this is just a way to incorporate that part into the robot mode that needs to be taken off during the transformation. So I really can't give much bonus points for it. The articulation of this model is very limited. This is as far as the shoulder can turn outwards. The arms can spin 360 and turn 90 degrees at the elbow, but it is still quite limited what you can achieve with such articulation. There is no knee articulation whatsoever, but there is a joint that allows the legs to move sideways and front and back. But that articulation is limited by the crotch piece and the fact that there isn't that much angle articulation. The only real thing that you can get out of there is angle spin if you open these panels. No rocker this way whatsoever, and very limited back and forth. So definitely not the most perfect robot mode that I could envision. Perhaps the car mode is better. But before we can get into that, we have to transform the model first. You start the transformation by clipping the feet together. There are a couple of clips that allow you to do just that. Next, you need to fold these car doors open and open a couple of panels at the back of the feet. That allows you to tilt the feet 90 degrees. Then we move these panels at the front to form the car hood. Make sure that these panels are on top of the ones at the front. Then close these panels. And after that, you can push everything in and get a pretty nice car front section. Next, you spin the wrists 90 degrees and flip a panel that covers the fists in car mode. Of course, you need to do the same for the other side too. Next, you flip up these small triangle sections, then angle the arms backwards for transformation clearance. Then you flip this panel over the head and straighten the bumper. Move the legs backwards so you can flip the crotch section in. Then just keep twisting the two main joints of this model so that the chest area meets the legs and you get something resembling a car. Next, you clip the arms in to the sides of the model. I like to do this from the bottom side as you can see the clips better. And now you have most of it done. You can fix the rear section and fold the doors in. The final part is to take this rocket back and flip it open to form the windshield. Last step is to angle the mirrors, and then you can connect the piece into the car. And that's it. Now, the front section of the car looks quite nice. The hood, the bumper, the front wheels, and even the windshield. But the sides don't look that good. There are gaps in the panels, and you can see quite a lot of transformation joints there. And also, the roof section of the car somehow looks quite out of shape. And same goes for this back section too. Of course, all of these compromises are there to either make the transformation work or the robot mode work. And here you can see the masterpiece version in car mode for comparison. The roof should slope backwards more gradually. The back window should be bigger and more further back. The wheels should be further from each other. And there is something off with the hood. Here you can see that it should be pointier at the front. The Lego version does not taper in, so that makes the car hood look quite a bit different than it should. So sadly, I think that the car mode is as off as the robot mode. The only thing in the car mode that actually looks good is the hood, but even that doesn't look as it should look. And of course, the scale issues are even more apparent in the car mode. This Volkswagen Beetle just looks huge when compared to the truck. The wheels on both cars are of same size, and the width of the cars is also equal. So I would say that the difference in scales is quite obvious. And here is the masterpiece models for scale comparisons. Now the masterpiece Bumblebee is actually slightly too small in car mode. The actual Volkswagen Beetle should be slightly larger when compared to that truck, but I still think that that pair looks better than the Lego pair. Finally, let's move on to durability. Does this model hold together when you're transforming it from robot to car and back? Mostly, this will hold together, and I think that is because of the increased size of the model. But even with that, the model has a couple of weak spots. Mostly, I have had problems with these car hoods. You would assume that 6 studs is enough to connect this piece, but that piece is easily twisted during transformation, so it comes off either from those studs or these clips come off the bar. Also, these moving panels come off quite easily as they are only connected with a couple of studs. And then there are builds like this car door where there isn't proper sandwiching done between the parts, and they can come off quite easily. So, some durability issues. The scale is way off. The car looks decent, but nothing like a Volkswagen Beetle. The robot has limited articulation, and it takes some liberties with appearance. So, is there anything good in the model? Well, I think that the robot mod still looks quite impressive. The head is good, and the robot looks recognizably Bumblebee. And that's the most important part. And the transformation works. That is an important part of any Transformers toy. I just think that transforming cartoon-accurate Bumblebee is extremely difficult to make. Even the actual Masterpiece range has struggled with that. And the Volkswagen Beetle has a very rounded shape, and it's quite difficult to build that out of Lego, especially if that car needs to transform into a robot too. So perhaps Lego chose too difficult model to follow the Optimus Prime. Then again, Bumblebee is the second most recognizable Autobot, so it's a bit difficult not to go there. But because this model is built out of Lego, it gives you the opportunity to do some modifications on it. I have one on my mind already, but more of that in the next video. If you want to get a notification as soon as that is up, you should consider hitting that subscribe button down there. I will upload the next video ASAP, but remember, when a Sloth says that, it means as slowly as possible. Bye bye!